The end of the lipstick index. We talk all the time about how in a recession, beauty thrives. Not anymore, babes. This is, of course, from our friends at Business of Fashion. It says, after years of double-digit growth and a perception of being impervious to wider economic downturns, the beauty industry is finding that cash-strapped customers aren't interested in quote-unquote little luxuries. I have to agree with this. I even find myself as someone who is in the beauty industry, who has certain elements of my image that I have to maintain. My nails.
Yep.
I'm literally like, you know what? I don't think I can afford $200 to get my nails, my hands and my feet done every 3 weeks.
Or I'm like one color.
Totally. Reading a lot of the comments on the post that Business of Fashion put up about this, people were like, I'm not surprised. There's oversaturation. There's too many brands. There's too many things that you need. The turnover for a trend is too quick. People lose interest in a product way more quickly than they used to. So it's not really indicative anymore of us to be like, oh, we need a treat for ourselves, when it's like, well, there's always a need for a treat for ourselves at this point.
This news, plus like the tariffs, do you think we'll see a lot of brands shuttering?
I think the tariffs are going to be a bigger deal for brand shuttering, especially if they're not already focused on being produced in the US. And we're already starting to see that. I mean, like brands are closing right and left.
Yeah.
But this story on Business of Fashion actually says that value-seeking behavior doesn't mean a total stop to beauty purchasing or even fewer trips to Sephora. This first line actually makes me think that like brands like e.l.f. and Emco will continue to be popular because they are cheaper than the rest and they're duping just like flat out a bunch of other brands. But Daniela says it does mean more consumers become more attuned to deals, discounts, and promotions. And the rise of TikTok Shop and Amazon as bona fide beauty retailers is pressuring traditional full-price retailers. On Nordstrom's website, a 70 milliliter bottle of Chloe perfume is $162. Some Amazon sellers have it listed as low as $72. I would actually love to have Artemis Patrick, who is the CEO of Sephora, on the podcast, or Keisha Steelman from Ulta Beauty, and talk to them more in depth about these sales and how that's either working in their favor or not, and how it's trained the consumer.
There are just so many sales now, and then the dates change, they're extended, and then now they have to compete with like how many Prime days, and then also Target.
Ulta even has like the spring hair event, and then this event, and then that event. And then I'm like, is 20% really that much of a big deal? But then now with all these tariffs, I'm like, well, I guess it's kind of like taking it down a little bit more. So maybe they will benefit from these sales even more in the future.
And then I think just like mentally, when you're like a consumer, you're like, yeah, I will be more likely to buy something even if I didn't want to because there is a sale.
Right. Also, if I know that I love something, I'd rather stock up on it and then get that 20% discount on a large portion of them, knowing I'm going to use them all, versus maybe trying something new. So I wonder how it'll fare for like new launches and newer brands as well.